Welcome to the Brilliant Soul Gathering, a gift offering for parents, caregivers, and family members on how to nurture the sacred soul flame within. And our intention is to support you with navigating life in these changing times and to give you inspiration on how to be the light in the darkness. Today, I am honored to have Rose Cole as our speaker. I am really honored for you to be here. Welcome, Rose.
Thank you so much for having me, Nadine.
Mm. And let me read your bio to introduce you to our listeners. So, after a childhood marked by severe trauma and abuse, Rose entered the foster care system and was later adopted by her aunt and an Indigenous medicine man. Through the shamanic path and sacred ceremony, she began a profound journey of quantum healing. Over the past 25 years, Rose has birthed a body of work dedicated to helping others heal and awaken. She has been featured in Forbes, E! Entertainment Television, and MSNBC. She's the author of multiple books and is an internationally renowned speaker. Rose is also an ordained minister, a recognized medicine carrier, and the president of the nonprofit Beauty Way in Unity, which supports the revival of earth based healing traditions through activism, fundraising, and community gatherings. She is the founder of Sacred Oak Academy, home of the Guided Energy Medicine certification. Together with her faculty, Rose trains spiritual leaders, conscious business owners, healthcare workers, change makers, and emerging healers from around the globe. She also offers advanced courses and community events designed to further students along their awakened path. Her core belief is simple yet powerful. As more people awaken to their gifts and live fully expressed, we collectively usher in a new consciousness and birth a new humanity together. Wow. What a powerful story. What a powerful bio. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So l- tell us more about who you are and the work that you do.
Yes. Oh gosh, where do I start? Well, the man, my aunt and my uncle, they became like my parents. And so my father, he was Apache, which is Native American, and he was a medicine man and kind of a pillar of the Native American community. And so I learned so much from him. And you can imagine with that kind of childhood, the young adult that I had become. And so it was really through these earth based practices and healing traditions that I had the honor and privilege of getting to experience where I started to heal myself in a quantum way. And I started to reclaim my spiritual gifts and went on to have a very successful, well known international practice working with people. And then people would always ask me, how do you do what you do? I want to study this with you. And so I opened my school, the Sacred Oak Academy. And I live in Southern California, right outside of San Diego in the mountains. And so I love taking people on vision quests and having people out to my land. And to me, it's all about reconnecting with Mother Nature, which is the motherboard of all creation. And all of these incredible things started to open up, my intuition and my shamanic gifts and abilities, and understanding how to work with energy. And so my gift is translating the mystical into everyday practical language that people can understand. I've studied shamanism with all kinds of different paths all over the world, from Brazil to India to Mexico and all over the United States. And I started to see some common denominators with every shamanic indigenous path. And so that's really where my heart and soul and my love is. I've been working right now with the Kogi people down in Colombia, helping them raise money and understanding their kind of cosmology, which I really love. But I've also worked with native paths here in the United States and learning what they call the Beauty Way path. And so that's why we named the nonprofit that I'm the president of, Beauty Way in Unity. And so it's just a path of endless discovery for myself and others, and path of beauty that's really just totally changed my life.
Yeah, and it's wonderful work. It's wonderful work. Um, Speak more about that common connection that you found between all these different indigenous cultures. Uh,
Yes. So I learned that there, at first, I identified three things that all of them had in common, all of these different healing paths from around the world. But I recently, right under my nose, was a fourth one that I'll share with you. It just goes to show that we never stop learning, right? Hopefully, we're always learning something new. What I learned is that they all know how to work with energy. They just have different techniques, right? Moving out energy that's not wanted, bringing in energy that is wanted. And that could be their specialty, could be for the human body, or it could be for land or your home or a situation, right? But everything is energy. And so they know how to work with the energetic level. And any single shamanic path around the world. Whether you go and you talk to the indigenous people of Europe, there's incredible shamanic paths, or the people in all over Asia, or the Aboriginals down in Australia or down in South America. They all have different techniques for moving out energy. And I think that that's really vital for us in the West because a lot of us have lost that understanding of how to work with energy. And so that's part of the reason why I formed my school of energy certification, because when you understand how to move out energy from the psyche, from your field that you're carrying on from pain and trauma from the past, all of a sudden your whole reality shifts, right? So that was the first thing that I noticed. The second one is that every single shamanic path knows how to work with and speak to work with energies on the other side of the veil. And so I know you said I could just go for it here. So, some paths specialize in talking to ancestors that have passed on. Some paths specialize in working with animals, spirits, or animal totems. Some of them, like a lot of the paths of my father and my paths of my family, are plant spirits, so plant cesters, as we call them, all kinds of plants. And then some paths know how to work with the mineral kingdom and the rocks and the stones, right? Or the elementals. And so, but they call them something different in every path, but it doesn't matter if you go down to the jungle or you go to Alaska, they have their own names and their own way of communicating with the other side of the veil, the unseen world. The third thing is that every single shamanic path knows how to work with the quantum field. So exponential. So what I mean by quantum is, in Newtonian physics, 1 + 1 = 2. But when you're working with the shamanic field, you're working with the shamanic path, you know how to work on the quantum level. So all of a sudden it doesn't make sense logically. Like 1 + 1 can equal 10. And I know, Nadine, you also have a love of and carry a shamanic path yourself. And so I'm sure you've witnessed many miracles, right? Like things that cannot be
yes.
explained with modern science, where a physical ailment disappears or an emotional ailment goes away like this, where it would have taken 10 years of therapy. So I love that aspect of it, that all of a sudden you're stepping out of Newtonian physics and you're in the land of the world of the great mystery. And so I know you've experienced that too. Is there anything you wanted to share about
Yeah,
that?
for me, it has been an experience with time where suddenly
Mhm.
things that used to take me so much time like got done instantly, or like
Yeah.
some help was given to me to get it done. And it's like, yeah, it's amazing.
Instantaneous shifts sometimes, or jumping timelines, or stretching time, all of these things that we think are fixed are not necessarily fixed. So every single shamanic path around the world, and I know you've experienced this yourself, knows how to work with this field and just has their own techniques and their own ways of going about it. So in our shamanic path, we have our own way of accessing the quantum field and working within the quantum field. And the fourth thing that I identify, or was there anything else you wanted to say, Nadine, or should I keep
No,
going?
I'm excited for the
Okay.
fourth thing. Yeah.
And this is the one that it just didn't click for me, but I realized, oh, yes, they all also have in common that they know how to be in what we call here in the North in right relationship or in right way. So instead of just taking, like a more Western philosophy is like, take what can I get? They understand the importance of giving and being in mutual reciprocity, and how to make offerings to the land, to the unseen world, to the importance of and the value of being in right way or right relationship. And so that's one of the aspects of what we call walking in beauty. It's like becoming aware of your, what I call, wake in the world. Like if you were a boat driving, there's a wake. Like, how do you affect everything and how does everything affect you? And this is one of the things and why I've been working and studying the Kogi people, because they are experts. They're these incredible magic people from Colombia, the medicine men and medicine women of Colombia, because they understand how to be in sacred reciprocity and right way with the energetics of Mother Earth. So I've been learning a lot about, okay, how do I come in right way with my body, with my home, with my the way I create money, with my family unit, with my daughter, and they say like, so what is the phrase? It's like, so um, you know, so within, so without, or something like that. It's like, basically what's going on the inside is what's going to be going on the outside of your reality. Like our body, our being is a microcosm of what we're seeing going on in the world. And so we can start to learn how to bring balance to our household, to our family unit, to Mother Earth. And it all has to do with this sacred reciprocity and coming into right way. And every Indigenous people knows how to do that. They knew how to not overhunt the buffalo, because it was an ecosystem, right, of give and take. And other paths know how to, like the Kogi people, how to be in sacred reciprocity and repair the ley lines and energetics of Mother Earth. And that's the reason why we're having all of these crazy natural disasters and things, right? Because we've gotten out of balance with the energetics and the ley lines of Mother Earth. So anyway, that popped into focus this year where I went, this is another common thing that every path has. And they just have different words and different ways of going about it. But I think as Westerners, we can adapt and start using some of these concepts to, again, bring a balance and a harmony to our ecosystem of our family units, which is then, I think, when more of us are doing that, it starts to be reflected in the world.
Yeah, and that's one thing I always tell families and especially mothers, that change starts at home, and the more families do that, the ripple will just ripple out. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it, I really appreciate that reciprocity concept, because I am also like a very big believer of the interconnectedness of all things, and how we as humans, we're also part of this bigger planet. Um, we cannot not be part of it. And every single action will create a reaction. And as you mentioned, we are so out of balance. It's, I mean, the whole situation in the world is just a reflection of this misalignment, let's say. So so let's move back to our family unit, and like, what do you want to tell parents, especially about what they can start to change in terms of the way they are bringing balance and harmony to their
yes.
family?
Yes, I love that question. Well, I remember somebody telling me a long time ago, and this has always stuck with me, that in Europe, if you go to see a homeopathic practitioner or doctor, let's say your child is wetting the bed, and instead of taking the child in to see the homeopathic doctor, only the mother goes. And the mother takes the homeopathic medicine, and then it changes things in the child, because usually it's the mother, or if it is it could be a male figure, but there is an anchor point of one person who is like the cog of the wheel, like the center point or a center pole of the household, anchoring, right? And all it takes is one person, one adult, to be regulating themselves to anchor that with the family. So I'll never forget, at my school, we had a woman who had just that case. She had an 8-year-old who was still wetting the bed. and she just couldn't figure out what was going on, and it was driving her crazy, and it was so stressful for her son. So instead of looking at him and trying to fix him, she went deep within, doing her own shamanic healing work, changing her energetics, changing her beliefs quantumly. And sure enough, overnight, he stopped wetting the bed. And I remember working with a prenatal and postnatal psychologist, and she taught me that as well. So this was when I first got pregnant with my daughter. I have a 14-year-old, and the very first thing she'd have us do when we came into session in this moms group was to clear our energy. So we'd stand up and do a qigong thing to clear our energy so that we were coming in centered. And I learned so much from her about, it was my only child. And so I'm pregnant. And she taught me how to really get present and really listen so I could hear my daughter in my womb. And so I knew things that the doctor couldn't tell me. They things that ended up saving her life and possibly even my life. um, because I knew what was going on in the womb, and the doctors kept telling me no, that wasn't happening. But had I not known what I knew, she probably wouldn't have made it. So that really taught me, like, wow, this is real. I knew how to get very still and go within and change my energetics and listen to her, deeply listen. And so that was kind of one of the very first lessons in parenting, to really get still and listen and present. And it starts with me. So the practice of clearing our house, like, actually, I'm going to do another level of clearing my house even just today. So I'm always like literally clearing the energetics with Palo Santo, a sage, clearing it out. When there's something funky going on, I look at myself, like, just this last week, my daughter was in an uproar. But what I realized is I was having a really crummy day, and she was just absorbing it from me. So she kept saying, I'm having such a bad day. I'm having such a bad day. And I went, no, you're not. I started saying to her, no, you're not. What is so bad about your day? And she goes, well, she couldn't name anything bad about her day, but she could see that I was having what I was perceiving as a bad day. And so she just absorbed it. And so I switched my attitude around it, and I went, okay, wait a minute. Let's start naming all the things that went right today. And I start listing them off. And I said, well, this could have gone like that, but it didn't. She's like, okay. And I start listing it, and I shift my energetics, and I watched how she now perceived that she was having a great day. It was so interesting, right? Or I woke up one morning and my neck hurt, and I didn't even say anything to her, but I couldn't turn it to the right. And she was sleeping in the bed with me. She woke up and she goes, Mommy, my neck hurts and I can't turn it. And she's describing the exact symptoms that I had, and the exact symptoms. And I said to her, Violet, let's do an experiment. Let's see, because she knows how to work with energy, right? I've taught her the type of energy work that I do. And so I said, would you be willing to do some energy work on me and see what happens? So she goes and does this energy work, totally clears it in my neck. And I said, how does your neck feel? And she goes, oh, it's gone. So, going back to the four things all these healing paths have in common: learning how to work with energy, clearing it within yourself, clearing your beliefs, clearing the energetic in your field, clearing it in your house. The biggest thing I've been working on is clearing it in land, because the land has ancestors and elementals and energetics, and it affects our work and our outcome. Especially parents that have children that have special needs. Like, I have ADHD, so does my daughter, or if you have children with autism or on the spectrum in any way, energetics, they are very, 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 very sensitive to energetics. And it's imperative that you clear the energetics and know how to put up gates and protect the energetics, because they might, even if they're non-verbal and they don't know how to communicate it, they're feeling and picking up everything. And you will see a huge shift with your children if you learn how to work with the energetics of your surroundings and yourself. So anyway, I could go on and on. I don't know if you want to keep going, Nadine, but
Yeah, and it's so important because they are very sensitive to these energies, and they can pick it up. And that's something we're not normally taught these days in this modern lifestyle. Yeah, yeah. So I'm really glad that you bring it up and like you make people aware of it. And uh, I got curious. I love how you're teaching your daughter how to do energy work. So, like, is there any specific age or kids who are showing interest in this? What advice do you have for parents who have kids who are just, they show interest in, for example, talking to animals, or they adore plants, or they adore crystals? Um,
Yeah, it's so common nowadays, right? These kids are coming in and they're so bright and they're so tapped in and they have all their shamanic gifts and abilities open, and they don't have to shut a lot of them down like we did because we didn't have parents or caretakers that knew how to be with us on our shamanic gifts and abilities. So the number one thing is, I mean, I'm sure we all wish that we had somebody to validate our experience. So if your children say, I saw a ghost, or I saw energy, or we listen and we take it in and we say, yes, this is normal, right? Instead of saying something's wrong, or oh gosh, I have people in my school that will say that they mentioned to a caregiver that they saw an angel or they saw energy, and they were taken to a priest and holy water thrown on them and scared the daylights out of them, or made to feel wrong or bad, right? Instead of saying, no, these are natural things. This is normal. And this is a gift. This is a positive thing, even if it's scaring them, right? And teaching them you can set boundaries. And one of my favorite things to do is to teach adults and children how to set their energetic boundaries, right? And then if they do see energies, they can set a boundary with them, just like you would in your house. And you can say, because most energies that might be wandering in, like there was an energy that was in our house and my daughter could see it. And so she was scared. And I said, they really can't hurt you and they're usually lost. And you can call upon your guardian angel and you can just give them a cup of love and a love cookie. And you can ask your guardian angel to take them to a place that's more appropriate. And so then my daughter went, oh, okay. And instead, she went to the place where she saw this being. And I'm not suggesting to necessarily do this. This was my daughter's idea, but she called this being forth and she said, it's okay that you're here. But you are welcome to go to the light if you would like. And there's nothing that you could ever do that would not make you worthy of going to the light. And this is again all her speaking, it all came from her. And I just held space. And she said, you're welcome to go to the light. There's nothing that you could have ever done that would make you not going worthy of going to the light. But if you would like to come back and you would like to speak to me or my mom, oh wait, hold on. Mom, is it okay if she also comes to you? And I said, yes, it's okay. And she goes, or my mom, or if you need any help. And then she went, Mom, they want to go to the light. And here she was, this little girl, and it was just the most earnest, beautiful thing. And she goes, they wanted to go to the light. So in months of her seeing this being, in our house scaring her, all of a sudden went to the light and all of a sudden wasn't scaring her anymore. So we can empower our children to say, no, you have power here and you can speak and communicate your needs and you can set boundaries and you don't have to be afraid. And we're also going to validate your experience, right? Then they can, and anytime you want, you can put a bubble around you of energy and you get to decide what comes into that bubble and what does not. So, I'm giving you like the little cliff note version of this, right? It goes a lot deeper, but most of us, even as adults, we don't know that we have that power. Like we're not at the whim of every energy that's going through the collective with elections and political things. And, we have these big things happening in the collective. And it's so easy for all of us to be just taken away by the energy and start to get hysterical or think, oh gosh, the world is going to hell in a handbasket. Instead, that's not going to help anybody. If we lose our grounding and we start to go into fight or flight, our children are going to feel it and they don't know how to communicate it, but they're going to think something's wrong, we're not okay. So the best thing we can do is to regulate ourselves. And I learned this because my daughter went to a Waldorf school for 7 years, and in every single city around the world is Waldorf education. I highly recommend it because they know how to work with sensitive children. It's a very holistic spiritual approach to education. Um, but and the kids don't have to shut down their gifts when they're, and so it's all these little gifted, kids. But what I learned from the teachers is that every teacher of a Waldorf school in the class, they know how to regulate themselves. And so they regulate the entire classroom. And all it takes is one person in the space or the family to get really grounded and dropped in, and to regulate their breathing and their heart rate, and to come back to their executive brain function and their higher self, and really anchor like the truth and the peace of, we're going to be okay no matter what. And then everybody else around you starts to get regulated. So that would be the biggest tip, is like learning to work with energy, and then us all doing our inner work to get regulated, so that everybody around us can start to, get regulated too. Otherwise, we're all going to fly off the handle. This world is just too crazy. There's too many tidal waves nowadays. Somebody's got to anchor in peace, or we're all going to lose it here. It's just too much.
Yeah, yeah, so important. And speaking about gifts, I know you have a gift to our listeners.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I
uh,
have a free e-guide that's about how to activate your 9 shamanic gifts and abilities. And these are abilities that everyone has, and maybe you've just never even had a name for them before. And so this e-guide talks about each of the gifts and what they mean, and how to tell if it's a psychic gift or a mediumship gift, and how to activate them, how to say a prayer to start working deeper with these shamanic gifts and abilities that are really our God-given superpowers, right, to navigate this realm, especially as healers and light workers. So I would love to give that to everyone here.
thank you. So the link to get that will be below this video. And to wrap it up, I love that we are living in a time where we're bringing back this indigenous wisdom and and returning to how we were previously as humans, that how we were living in this aligned way. Uh, just a quick message to wrap it up around how this contribution to the planet and to nature, to the Great Mother, how would it impact our well-being and the well-being of our kids if we were back into this harmonious way of living in reciprocity?
Yes. Well, what we see going on in our personal reality, we are a microcosm of the macro. So the more each of us can take personal responsibility to say, okay, I know it's crazy out in this world. There's so much going on. But if I can just get myself reconnected to Mother Nature, if I can get myself grounded, even though it feels totally irrational and crazy compared to what's going on in the world, if I can do that, then I'm going to be one of the few that is anchoring this. And then you'll start to see that ripple out to your children, your household, and your community and those around you. And the more of us doing that, we will start to see, and we are seeing this shift on the planet, because we're really in a birthing of consciousness, right? We're in an up leveling, we're in the birth canal, and it's messy and it's painful and it's confusing. But those of you that have given birth in whatever way you did, I know it's always perfect, whatever way it happens, very cosmic experience, right? In those times where when we're scared and we're being squeezed in the birth canal and it's confusing, the more we can relax and trust life, trust the flow, that we've been birthed many, many times before, and that humanity knows what it's doing. Life knows what it's doing. We are being facilitated by life, and we can trust Mother Nature, the easier time we'll have. And I think that when more of us are anchoring that truth out in the world, more people start to remember, yes, I have birthed before. Even if you've never had physical children, you've been birthed. And I believe that many other times you have birthed. And there's a deep remembering within us that our ancestors that came before and our ancestors that came before, we've all had challenging times back from the beginning of humanity. So really it's about that deep remembering, that each of us can reconnect our umbilical cord to Mother Earth, anchor in that deep peace, and start to see it reflected in each of our own little microcosms. And I think that's what we can each individually do to help humanity and help our families and ourselves right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I do want to share that as part of the Beauty Way in Unity uh, cause, I am part of a sisterhood where we are contributing to the native elders of the Koki people. And for everyone watching this, if you donate to this cause, I'm giving away free Gene Keys profile sessions. So I'll put all the details below this video as well. But I am really honored to be contributing to this cause because I also like feel that that connection to Mother Earth is so vital to my own well-being and in mysterious ways. I don't know how it happens, but in any place that I live, I travel a lot, and currently, like I'm in the middle of a very busy city, but I still go to that park near my home, and that connection to Mother Earth, like I feel, is so uplifting and so nurturing for me and for my children. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, well, Nadine, thank you so much for doing that. First of all, for everyone, if you don't know what the gene keys are, they are life-changing. I've been studying my gene keys for about 10 years, Nadine, and the fact that you're offering a personal reading, it's like there's your life before and your life after. It's like a roadmap to
it
your this
is.
lifetime and what you're here to learn and move. Totally life-changing. So for no other reason, do it for that reason. But thank you so much for choosing us as the cause that you're contributing to right now. And for everyone who doesn't know, the Kogi people, Kogi, you can look them up. There's a great documentary that was done by the BBC called Aluna, Aluna. You can find it on YouTube. And these people, these ancient people from the Colombian, the Sierra Nevadas and the Columbia, they're teaching us how to repair the ley lines and the energetics of Mother Earth. And so they go around teaching and sharing this knowledge, and they are actively repairing the ley lines in Mother for Mother Earth and doing land blessings. So this is what we can all learn to do to help with all the natural disasters and things that are happening on the planet. And, again, and what they're teaching, basically, you can take this same cosmology and use it for yourself. So I highly recommend, because again, we're just a mirroring of what's going on the planet, right? So I highly recommend checking out that documentary, Aluna. You'll learn so much. But also thank you for contributing to this cause, because we are on a mission to help get their message out and help them to further the work that they're doing and to protect their sacred lands. They're actually taking deforested land and returning the forests, and all the animals are returning. They can plant streams with energetic pieces, where they show pictures in the documentary of totally deforested areas where, these are the lungs of Mother Earth. And they can go in and plant these energetic pieces, and streams return, and animals, the jaguars return, and the jungles return. So, and they're teaching us how to do this all over the world. So, thank you so much for joining us in this mission. And thank you to everyone who feels called to support this fundraiser. And also, they get to have this incredible time with you to do their gene keys. That's very generous of you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, thank you, thank you. I'll also put the link to that documentary movie below the recording. Yeah, it's amazing. This has been really wonderful. Um, just one quick last message to leave our listeners with.
One last message. I guess it's more of a prayer. Um, I'll offer this prayer or this intention for all of us. May we all walk in beauty, surrounded by beauty on all sides of us, emanating beauty, coming into right way with all of God's creation, to be this living, breathing example for our brothers and sisters here in humanity. Aho, amen.
Ah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Nadine. Blessings on the rest of this beautiful series that you're
Oh,
offering.
thank you.